Mic check. Mic check. Check. Okay. This is a presentation that I shared yesterday at a Boys and Girls Club in Stoneham, and I just want to kind of review it and go back into it for a second time. So it's called Caricature and Illustration. So I start off by defining caricature. And to me, as a very simple way to put it is exaggerating the character. In this context, the character would be the subject. Um, Character is not meant to call the person someone who's pretending. Or we could have a completely made up character and exaggerate that character. Or it could be a person's persona that gets exaggerated. Like if they are, let's say, a musician or like a rapper or an actor or actress, maybe we can exaggerate the character that they play. But in this context, character just means the subject or the person. Exaggerating the person. So I start off with myself, right? Um, One thing I notice, I see what everyone else sees because it looks like me, but so many other parts of it is just like, so many other parts of it is people's own creation and style, which is why you're able to get variation. You know, they all look like the same in every picture. Um, and these are amateur beginners, people who really aren't, um besides the two on the left, obviously. The rest is from a workshop, so people who are just learning what caricature is, maybe for the first time or just on an introductory level. A lot of these to me are more so intended to be portraits, to draw a caricature, but what I see here are portraits. They don't really, there's not really much exaggeration in them, um, generally speaking. See, portraits are meant to be accurate and exact depictions, at least as far as like proportion goes and scale goes. Like, it's meant to replicate realistic and precise manner. So I placed the Mona Lisa, George Washington, and then the portrait of Barack Obama. And we don't know if the Mona Lisa is of a real person. I believe Da Vinci is the one that created this image. Um, but if this were a real person, it looks like it would be an accurate depiction. Then we move on to cartoons. Cartoons tend to have a fixed look for the characters in their world. And I guess another way to put that is there's very limited elements. You know, everyone has circle eyes on the right. Uh, Everyone has yellow skin, as the kid said yesterday. Their smiles are all the same. Their teeth are the same. So you're working with limited elements, and it's like a fixed look in this Simpson world. SpongeBob, even though because they're different, like uh, what you call sea creatures, for the most part, besides Sandy, who's a squirrel, they have some variation, but for the most part, the elements to draw them are generally the same. Like uh, Patrick and Mrs. Puff, Squidward, SpongeBob, they generally have the same shaped eyes. I could see Sandy and Gary have the same shaped eyes. So, oh, you could also add Pearl. I think that's Mr. Krabs' daughter's name. She also has the same shaped eyes as SpongeBob and Patrick and Mrs. Puff and Plankton. You get the point. Caricatures are highly personal. No two people should look the same unless they truly do look the same. This is just me, but you can see how personal the caricatures are. They're very specific to my features. Um, and it just doesn't look like a general drawing or how like cartoons just have a general look. Some caricatures are more effective than others. The best caricatures capture the likeness, expression, and have an exaggeration that makes sense for the subject slash person being drawn. Okay. Um, the three themes: likeness, expression, and then exaggeration. The likeness just simply means it has to look like the person. Secondly, the expression. How does the person express themselves? What emotion do they give? See, I'm drawn with a grin because I don't smile big unless I'm laughing. Uh, and then exaggeration. I think the left, well, both of them have an exaggeration of the neck. Uh, the eyebrows are definitely exaggerated, but they're still accurate. And then he nailed the likeness. Tom Richmond, he nailed the likeness, which is the person who is teaching, guiding the workshop that these pictures are from. Here are some class examples. It's political, satirical, journalistic, or simply for entertainment purposes. Then I show this example of like a political cartoon, Trump, where, it's like a metaphorical, hyperbolous expression of something that's going on in the world currently. Mallet or hammer or whatever you want to call that in destroying Harvard, no, but you get that exaggerated illustration. And then I think caricature comes into play because of that exaggeration, but also because Trump is exaggerated. Is that exactly what he looks like? No, but he does look like that. You gave him wide hips. He's basically overweight and yellow hair. Those elements alone, you're going to get Trump. A political cartoon, it's not intended to just solely be the caricature that I'm talking about, but it does possess the elements. Now, when we look at the Sean Combs courtroom images, to me, these have been a perfect example of caricature because the courtroom sketch artists, they don't have a lot of, really, they're doing like a loose likeness of the room and the people. And it looks like caricature to me because is his head actually that big? Maybe, but the person made his head pretty huge here. And it looks like him. It doesn't look exactly like him, but it still looks like him because the proportions and the exaggerations make sense. It didn't need to be exactly precise to still read as Sean Combs or P. Diddy or Puff Daddy. There are different degrees of exaggeration and caricature. So this is a page taken from Tom Richmond's book. And these are pretty extreme. The class yesterday said that I asked them, are these moderate depictions or extreme depictions? They said, these are pretty extreme. Winfrey, I said, I see why you would say that, but no, that's Whoopi Goldberg. And if someone said that David Letterman looks like Jim Carrey, I could see why they would say that because of the smile. So that comes down to like there's a likeness and expression that are similar between those two people. But again, that's not the subject. There are different degrees. So I pulled these off of Instagram. One on the left was the caricature party, I believe is the handle, caricature party. Yeah, caricature party. And then the one on the right is Desto Tunes. And to me, these are pretty extreme as well. Desto Tunes, it's still maybe not extreme as the drawing on the left, but Desto Tunes, he sticks to like keeping a strong likeness. A lot of times people exaggerate so much that they begin to lose likeness. Not to say, well, for example, the picture on the left, with caricature, you could get really creative. His eyes are so close together, you can almost just give him one eye. But I think the likeness is good for the guy, but the likeness for the girl starts to suffer, really, really pushed. But that's just my opinion. So then I took them to my website to look at a portfolio. I guess I could do that if it will allow me. Here we go. Edit slide. That's it. Let's learn some caricature theories, how to draw. Okay, and then, in the workshop, what I would do is now we're going to draw some of these celebrities and talk about the elements of caricature. And I will leave this video just to be an introduction to the theory and ideas of caricature, and proceed in the next video to... Thank you guys for watching. This has been my presentation. You can find me on Instagram at Jay's Portraits or YouTube at Jay's Portraits.